Yeah, I just set this up. I know there's a lot of information flying around, a lot of new processes and procedures this year that myself and the current board get to deal with, and all of you get to deal with. So we just wanted to make sure that, everyone realizes that this new form of communication has been working great. There are kind of two things we're working towards: a first ever budget vote and a first ever off-season bylaw vote. Both of those votes are planned for April 24th. There was a draft budget and a bridge draft budget posted to the website. And last night or the day before, we also posted an FAQ document, which tried to summarize all of the questions that were submitted via email and some of the questions that were voiced during the meeting or in the chat. So, tonight's meeting wasn't really meant to have further debate. If people want to discuss anything, no one's muted. I just ask that everyone behave themselves. If anyone has questions on the process or wants to have a comment, I'm sharing my screen right now with some dates and the procedure. So I'll just leave it there. Couple people trickling in,
so to speak. How many people do you have?
We have 9 participants. Does anyone have any questions? Would anyone like to say anything or, comment on the process so far? Say what they're looking forward to this summer. I'm just going to hang out here. If there are any questions, there's really no purpose. It's just we had said we were going to have some extra info sessions. There hasn't really been a lot of time. Our bylaws require the board to vote on a final proposed budget by this Saturday.
Repeat that again, please.
Okay. So our new bylaws require that the board vote on a proposed budget by the 3rd Saturday in March.
Okay.
And they require that the membership be noticed of the proposed budget and of the meeting within 5 days of that board action. The bylaws also stipulate that the membership will vote on the proposed budget on the 3rd Saturday of April every year. So now that's a 3rd meeting that's written into our bylaws every year.
Okay.
I could probably make this a little bigger.
Okay, that helps.
Yep. So that's all just, bylaws procedure that's new. So we're just following that. And the budget and the bylaws vote are going to both be on the same day. They're going to be separate meetings, separate votes. For the budget to pass, the budget passes unless 51% of the votes cast are against it. So the board votes the final proposed budget. The membership has the right to vote it down. The interesting situation this year is that if the budget is voted down, we revert to the previous budget approved by the membership, of which we don't have one because this is the first year we're voting on one and approving one. So final proposed. So if the budget's voted down this year, that kind of puts us in like the nuclear situation. We are only allowed to spend money on emergencies and necessities to protect our property, or maybe figure something else out, but the bylaws kind of limit us there. For the proposed bylaws amendments, any bylaw amendment has to be noticed to the membership at least 30 days prior to the meeting. So within more than 30 days from April 24th, the membership will receive notice of the special meeting to vote on the bylaws. For bylaw amendments to pass, at least 50% of assessed households, at least 50% of eligible households must cast a vote, and 2/3 of those votes cast must be in favor. So it's a higher standard to change a bylaw. And I don't know if any is, can people see my screen? Is it big enough?
Yeah. Yep.
No?
I can see it.
Okay.
You're talking about your key dates and process paper?
Yeah.
I can see it clearly.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I mean that's the process, that's the plan. So far we've had anywhere between 15 and 30 people on these calls, both for bylaws and budget. All the YouTube videos have had double-digit views. Some of them between 20 and 30 even. I've gotten emails from people who aren't able to attend these meetings, but have really appreciated being able to tune in there and feel like they're able to keep abreast of what's going on and stay informed. So overall, I think in a new situation, we've all adapted and I think done a really good job. A lot of people sent thoughtful emails. The FAQ document on the website, if anyone has any questions on that, is very thorough. And I don't really have anything else to say unless there are questions or people want to make any comments. Like I said, this is really just informal and we're here.
So I would just say, because I unfortunately wasn't able to make a couple of the meetings, but I went on, to look back. And so that's very helpful. I certainly haven't been able to review everything. But when I saw that the budget was 89 pages long, I said, oh my, that's a lot of pages. So I don't have an opinion on the whole thing. There were a lot of items that show increases and the expenses for the website and stuff like that. One of the things I just wanted to make sure about as your planning goes forward is a question on the special events, where there were sub notes 2, 3, and 4, and one of them they pertain basically to what expenses would be less than what was shown, because there would be sale of tickets for like the social events. This is
Right.
the social events. So I wanted to ask you if that social event piece is going to be fully covered by the charges for the various parties that are offered.
So the social events that are detailed, I believe let's see. Is the budget showing up on people's screens right now, or is it still the
Yes.
other document?
Yeah.
Okay, it's probably very small.
Mm.
So let's see. The social events are here. And yeah, so the total cost is $15,435, but I think that there were an estimated $3,600 of ticket sales. So we could come down to the narrative on social events.
I didn't get that far, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So the budget, the first 2 pages are just the numbers. The next 16 pages are a budget narrative, which describes every line item. So the 89 pages are a little intimidating, but it's really an 18-page budget. And then the 61 pages are exhibits and emails, and all that stuff was included really this first year, just so that everyone knows that there's backup and there's thought behind every single line on this budget.
And I appreciate those. I read several of those, but I did not get down to the explanation for the social.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty good. If there's an increase, it explains why. Some costs just go up every year.
Of course,
with
I know that
entertainment-
very well.
With entertainment, we didn't have a lot of events due to COVID last year, but the year before we're not adding anything really different except for a 75th birthday party for the beach. In some shape or form, we think we should celebrate it. It's pretty exciting that Pleasure Beach has been officially incorporated for 75 years, longer than I've been around. But that's an exciting milestone. So this is the explanation of social events.
Right. And so what I'm really asking you is, what is the plan of the association for the percentage of offset for those big events? I think the hot dog roast, that's a great thing. The associate, for the whole beach, anyone that can come. That's an all right cost for the beach to have, and the ice cream social, that's fine. But when you get to the beach picnic and the 75th anniversary party and the opening cocktail party, those amounts of monies are really very social events that don't necessarily involve every member of the association. So is the pricing of the tickets going to be approximately, doesn't have to be the exact dollar, but approximately covering the $3,500 or the $3,700?
So that was no. To answer your question, as is budgeted now, no. That came up last weekend, and the issue of what percentage of the beach actually participates in events, and maybe those events that serve a higher percentage of the beach should be more subsidized than ones that aren't. I will say that these are budget numbers. The entertainment committee is expected to work within them. So this isn't necessarily final, and but historically ticket prices have been very low. I think that one way to think about it is that the cost of the event, maybe moving forward might be the fixed cost might be what the association pays. Tent, a grill rental, a dance floor for a big party, a band or something like that. But then cost of food, beverages, the incremental cost per person maybe should be more linked to the ticket price. For example, last year, I believe tickets for the beach picnic were $5. The beach picnic is something that almost everyone comes to, so maybe those should stay at $5. But the idea was brought up that if less people attend an event, maybe the ticket price should be higher and the cost of the association should be lower. This is still that original proposed budget. The board has a meeting tomorrow to vote on a final proposed budget, and that's one of the things we'll discuss, and that's one of the things the entertainment committee will have some say over as well, as we move towards the season, as far as what percentage of the cost would be offset by tickets. And the ticket offset, could certainly go up.
And I would basically encourage that based on the discussions that I heard at the meetings last year and perhaps the year before.
Hold on, I gotta mute my mom. All right. Go ahead, Carol.
So I'm just saying there were some discussions about those pricing things, and that an event that is bringing in, let's say, a caterer who's going to charge $50 a plate, for the association to subsidize that didn't seem to be really popular with a lot of the membership, and I certainly would be one of them. That if you want to have a beach picnic $50 per plate doesn't seem to be an appropriate amount of money as far as I'm concerned. So I would encourage you to really, think seriously about that percentage that is charged, and especially for the opening cocktail party and the anniversary party. I don't know what you have in mind, but a special August event, not everyone can go to things like that, but it's different. It's, maybe a 75th anniversary party can be subsidized a little bit more, but these big ticket items, for many of the people I've talked to on the beach, that's not why we're there.
Okay.
For those big social events. So
Yeah, so I think there are kind of two things there. It's the percentage of the events that are paid for by tickets and by the people who actually use the events.
Right.
But you also said that $50 a plate might not be appropriate for what we're looking for. So, having a $50 ticket to a $50 plate party also doesn't seem to jive with what you feel is appropriate for the beach. So is that accurate, that you think there are kind of two issues there, that
right.
You want to see things?
A beach picnic does not seem worthy of a $50 charge.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happened in the past.
I was just giving you what I would think of as an extreme example.
Okay.
And if I don't, you'd have to look at the history of how many people show up for the beach picnic thing, and are they looking for something more than what we used to have as a volunteer thing? Everybody brought something and everybody had a great time. And there were a few things that were paid for, but it didn't cost very much because everybody that wanted to come brought something to share, and that was the cost. I'm not saying it has to be done that way. I'm just giving you an example of something that might have cost, I'm just making up a number, right? $250, $300, and now you go up to $5,300. That seems a little bit of a stretch for me.
Right.
For a beach picnic.
Yeah, I don't have the historical breakdown. We could look at the 5-year budget of entertainment expenses.
Yeah. Oh, and that's all right. I just wanted to, you don't have to go back to look at it. It's really okay. I just wanted to make sure that that which is that's a choice thing. There are a lot of these things that you have here. You don't have any choice unless you don't want to put the raft out. You're going to increase your costs every year. I mean, that's, those are realities.
Mm-hmm.
Lifeguards are the realities. Beach cleaning is really nice. It really is. I like it a lot. If it becomes too expensive, then you have to decide whether that's, do we have that kind of money available for the budget? That's, what
right.
I'm concerned about.
So yeah, every $1,000 the association spends, each member's share of that is $5. So if our net or total net entertainment budget were $10,000, that's, someone made the comment in last week's meeting that's $50 per member to get the full slate of entertainment activities. Last year that was hot dogs and food trucks and a beach picnic. This year there are plans to add children's activities at a very low cost per week. There are plans to add some movie nights and other things. I think that, at least me personally, I think that you're right. Not everyone comes to the beach to be part of a social club, but I do think that we're all neighbors and we've all lived next to each other for generations and plan to for generations, and having events that build community is an important part of our association. Do they need to be fancy and cost a lot of money? That's up for the membership to decide, and maybe there's a balance there. But so right here, these are the entertainment costs in past years: $14,000, $10,000, $12,000. This one seems low, the 7,000 in 2019. And then last year, obviously with COVID, our expense was only 6,700. So this year's net expense at over $11,000 is definitely an increase, but it's in line with the historical average.
Yes.
But you know, these meetings are recorded. I know the entertainment committee is. I see Nikki back there with Kennedy and Dan, and Jen and Leah aren't on. But Nikki, do you want to say anything? You're muted. Oh. We can't hear you. Is it an iPad? Maybe you have to turn the little volume thing on.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I think that, you know, our goal this year is to really have a lot of different events that people actually, you know, really want to get involved and really want to go into. You know, Dan and Charlie grew up at the beach doing all these different things together. And our goal this year is to bring people together, you know, trying to do maybe a little more kids activities. So the goal is to get volunteers. So we would appreciate it if you would volunteer for any of these things that you feel passionate about, and then get more people to get involved. So, you know, if you have a great idea of a caterer who should be used for something, we would, you know, love the help in trying to come up with good ideas for that. But I think it's to include everybody and get everybody to be involved in some sort of way to make it like it was for Dan and Charlie, and now for Charlie's son, he's holding, who's brand new, and his other baby and our daughter, to try to make it like it was for them.
I don't disagree with that at all. Those activities that the Tarbell family and the Grady family, which is my family, enjoyed were wonderful, and they were very beach oriented.
Yeah.
The problems that I and a few others that I have spoken to over the last couple of years are more concerned about the separate social. Oh, nice to see your baby there, Jan.
This is Henry.
Yeah, hello, Henry. So the swimming races and the castle building, there were so many different things that have been tried over the years. Those are fine. Those are low cost items. It's the ones that are social events for people who live all the time at Pleasure Beach that are accessible to them, and not necessarily for those of us who live further away. That's the one I'm concerned about. And that's why I said, the cocktail party that's a members only piece, that isn't involving, everybody, because we don't all live there. And so those are the kinds of things that I'm concerned about, not all of those summertime events that are really fun, they are low cost, and anybody that comes from my family or renters that I have are able to enjoy it. But when it's a members only, that's a big expense. And I, as a renter, when I pay my fees, my renters should be able to go to the beach picnic because they've been coming for 30 years. And the ruling that I got was, that's still true, that they should be able to come. So that's why I raised that particular item.
And Carol, I think, I kind of agree with your first thought in terms of like looking at the entertainment expense. It sounds like a ton of money, but I really appreciate what Charlie just said about breaking it down from a simplistic standpoint of if my neighbor wants to go to something and I want to be part of the association, is it worth $50 a year to me for their enjoyment? I kind of look at it as yes, is the answer to the question. And on the another point is we are so busy, but we love Pleasure Beach. It's like our sanctuary, and we love coming down there. And we don't, but you probably see us on the beach like 4 times this season. And it's maybe Nikki's probably 2.
4 times ever.
Never, exactly. That's where I was going.
She has a sand phobia. We're working on it. She's in therapy for it. It's okay. But no, I kind of look at it as like, all right, we don't go down to the beach as much, but we love the beauty and we love the community and we love everything. And we really like going to these social parties and having a good time. So where we don't go to the beach every day and get the value and the assessment that we pay for the privilege of going to Pleasure Beach, we feel like whatever we're contributing towards everybody else, so that the legal fees can be paid and the parking lot can be fixed and the maintenance can be done and all of that. It's, I think we all kind of, if we have a collective agreement that, if we believe the board is going to do the right thing, which personally I believe they will. And I think, one of the other comments Nikki and I came on here to say is, for the first time, and this is throwing me under the bus because I was on the board for 5 years, for the first time in my life, there was a true ask of, with no agenda, with no anything, there was a survey of the members of what was important to them. And then there was an incredibly thoughtful and very detailed response to that. And I really feel like the president and the board heard the members, and I think they're trying to match everything for everybody, and they're never going to make everybody happy. So I guess I'm going to stop talking and get off my my soapbox here, but that's the way I kind of look at it. Is I agree with you, Carol. It sounds like a hell of a lot of money, but when Charlie's able to break it down and say it's $50 a household, I don't care if it's entertainment or whatever else it might be. I kind of look at it and say, all right, you know what? If that makes my neighbor happy, I'm cool.
Also, I will add, and Nikki, you can confirm this. The survey in the fall was a big success. The survey proved that it can work as a way to gather a lot of opinions. Whether someone wants to speak up at a recorded video meeting or an in-person meeting isn't for everyone, but we did have 60 responses. I know the entertainment committee is planning on using that method to get opinions and ideas and volunteers and people who might have certain skills that want to do different things. So that's something to keep an eye out for as well, Carol. So, when that survey comes out, definitely, your thoughts are recorded here, but definitely share those. And if you have other people who feel the same way, they should share their thoughts there. And that's a nice way to kind of informally take the temperature of the membership. And there's always room for improvement on every event. Things have changed and evolved over the years. If they need to go back a little bit towards where they were, that's great. If they need to evolve into something they haven't been before or be combined or changed, that's all the power in the association comes from the members, and the members vote the board, and the board is supposed to do their wishes, and we assign committees to do all the hard work and oversee them. So, but it all starts with the 200 members and the 200 votes. So, everyone is meant to have a voice. And yeah.
And you heard mine today. So
yes, no, and we
I said Dan, but I was looking at Dan's, name. I called you Dan. It's Charlie. I know that you're Charlie. So thank you for listening. And I appreciate what you said, and Dan certainly makes a very good point that each member is paying $50 for social events. So depending on what the scale of those are, I've made my point, and I heard what you said, and that's fine. And so many of the other costs are, they're apparently in line from everything I can tell as a person that's been on boards and so forth, looking at reports. So I thank you for that. Thank you for all the meetings that you have provided. And I've encouraged other members in my greater family who have cottages there too to be involved when they've started watching. So it's good.
Charlie, can I offer a quick opinion?
Yeah, who is that?
Susan Brown, hi.
Oh, hey, Susan.
Can you see me?
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
I'm on a phone, that's why.
Okay.
I just wanted to express a little bit of concern about the proposal for raising the initial fees and eliminating the installment provisions. it seems like that's a really big change all at once. And I just like to urge that they think a little bit about scaling back either the increase or reinstating the installment provision.
So I did mention that an FAQ document has been posted to the homepage of the website. It's within the past 24 or 48 hours, so you may not have seen it. And in there, that question is addressed. The board is that was a proposed in the budget. It was definitely met with a bunch of resistance, maybe even more than any other thing. So I think reinstating some sort of payment plan, maybe lowering the increase. The fee hasn't been increased since 2009. I think what I heard was that increasing the new member fee wasn't as big of a problem as expecting people to pay it all at once.
Yeah.
So that was definitely heard during the informational sessions.
Good. All right. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
And thanks for all that all of you are doing. Looks like a lot of work, and it's been a big help to feel like we have a voice. So
thank you. It has been a lot of work this winter, and it's not easy when you're trying to balance the fun of a beach with the rules and state laws and payroll and budgeting and bylaws of a legal tax exempt organization. But I think that we have a really good group on the board. We have a really good solid core of active members, and all this work being done in the off season seems maybe unnecessary at times, but hopefully it'll lead to a much smoother, more enjoyable summer for everyone. And I think that's the goal. So that's what I have my eye on.
Great. Good. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, good job. Good job.
Gary.
As if you didn't have something extra to do with that lovely little Henry there.
Oh no, I have nothing going on. So this is great. Gary in the chat asked if we could talk about the new gate that's in the budget, maybe some details about what it looks like, and will it be strong enough to withstand vandalism? So one thing I can say is that there's electric trenching in the capital budget. The reason that that's really important is because we believe that the state is planning on repaving the boat launch and their parking lot. And we would need to get their permission to trench, and getting that permission right after a brand new paving job would probably be way more difficult than previously. Another thought about the gate is we have a limited season, and we have members that would like and appreciate access after hours and year round. A third thing is that we have over the years developed a paid badge checker that monitors the gate. So we think that this is actually one line item in the budget that over time would have a payback. So if it could save $5,000 or $6,000 a year in security costs, it would actually pay for itself if you look at it that way. As far as look and strength, I don't know if I can speak specifically to that. I do see John King on here. John, do you want to comment at all about kind of some of the thoughts we've been bouncing around about the gate?
Sure, Charlie. It was, we do have a couple of designs. It's basically going to be a wrought iron gate, black, picket style. We haven't picked the exact design as of yet, because we're still getting proposals and a few other more information about it anyway. I might be able to send you, Charlie, a quick file that you could possibly put up on the screen.
Sure.
That would help out.
Yeah.
I can quick see if I can find that in my files here quick and send it over to you.
Okay.
So could I ask a quick question? So logistically, we're talking about an electric fence that's going to open and close for every member that comes to the beach that wants to park. Is that what we're proposing?
I think eventually something like that. I don't know if it would make sense to have a person there on really high traffic days and have the gate be open. The idea of having a solar powered gate was proposed, but those high traffic days, might propose a problem for a limited, source of power. But yes, a member, instead of a parking pass, you'd have a fob or some sort of RFID device, and the gate would open, be activated, close behind you. You could get out the same way.
Could I just add one other thing, and that is that has anybody done any research with this, with being that it's close to the salt water and the effects that an electric gate over time would have being down at the beach and the exposure? I don't know the answer. I just am proposing the question.
John, do you want to address that?
We have talked to 2 different suppliers and manufacturers, and we did have them quote us that they both have seen the area, how close we are to the ocean, and the proposals they did mention have been used at other beach communities. I don't know if they mentioned exactly which beaches they were using it at, but they are giving us proposals that can handle the salt water and are basically commercially grade or opening systems anyway.
And I don't think that, I'm sure there are gates in the Hamptons and Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard that get just as much weather as we do. So, one of the things as a board that we did talk about this year was, in general, when approaching capital projects, it's really important to have good specifications and really think about all those possible failure modes, Karen. So in terms of the gate, Gary brings up the point of vandalism. You bring up the point of salt water and weather. With other things, I think when we're ever embarking on a major project, it is important to kind of pull the membership and make sure that we're not missing anything. We do have a financial control policy now, so major expenses, we have to have a specification, and we have to get 3 prices if it's possible. And just going through that due diligence process, I think, is a good best practice. So, the actual electrification of the gate is not in this year's budget. The trenching and possibly putting in a gate or a new gate that would still be manually operated would get us, part of the way there. I think that, the electrification, the RFID, all the smarts that go along with that are definitely a major expense, and probably haven't been fully thought out yet. But we think that between, off-season access, between saving on people costs, which are the biggest percentage, the biggest slice of the pie of our budget, we think that long-term, that some sort of solution like this would be beneficial to the beach. And if it looks nice and everything like that, I think that it would improve the overall aesthetic as well. But
Is the plan going to be to keep the pedestrian access around the gate as it is now?
Same plan.
so in our survey in the fall, a large percentage of people walk via the bridge. So I think that some sort of pedestrian access definitely needs to be maintained.
Okay.
How that's done remains to be seen. It would likely be something similar to what we have now.
Mhm. Yep, good.
John, did you send that document?
Yes, I did, Charlie.
Okay.
It's just a quick picture anyway, but I'm trying to find the actual color photograph that we had as well, but I can't seem to find that file yet.
Okay. So this is a rendering of a gate. And this is a style gate where it opens from the middle outwards. John?
Yes, it's It's two wings basically that open into the parking lot.
So the three options for a gate are the two that open. One that would open will be obviously the longer the lever arm, the less strength it has at the end. And then maybe a more sturdy option, but more industrial looking, is a gate that slides open and, you know, needs that full width to provide access. So those are your three options when you're looking at something like this. We felt like this was a good combination of strength and aesthetics.
They did say that the gate arm that opens up is the least strength because of the wind and everything that could affect it. And this is probably the most beautification style, whereas the sliding one is more of an industrial, commercial warehouse factory type of gate that we were trying to stay away from.
Yeah, the self-storage look.
Correct.
You know, once you start adding electricity down there, everybody's going to start wanting running water, their lights, cameras.
Tesla charging stations. Where does it stop? Yeah, I honestly don't know, you know, where it could go. I think that, you know, having electricity, there isn't a huge cost in bringing it to that corner of the lot. And it certainly would give us some options for other amenities within reason. At this time, you know, nothing's really proposed or planned, but there certainly are other options that are opened up if it's there.
Maybe we can install a security camera and charge the town of Waterford for access to help subsidize the cost of bridge repair.
That sounds good.
You know, count the cars who actually uses the bridge.
This is the gate that you're talking about, the gate that's right at our parking lot, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Just trying to keep other cars out of there. It's not
So
going to
the proposed trenching, there's a telephone pole, not on the
right
island,
nearby.
but
Yeah.
across from the island. The trench would come from that pole. There'd be a transformer on that pole, and the trench would come from there underground to the corner of our lot. And we'd have to have a pedestal meter there that we'd, you know, try to hide away as best we could. And we felt like, as far as a long-term option, if this was ever going to be considered, now's kind of our chance to put some of the infrastructure in place. And while, you know, the solar gate is a nice idea, we didn't think that it really held up against all those what if scenarios, maintenance, busy days, cloudy days, things like that.
Okay.
Gary, do you have any other questions or comments?
No, that was great. I really appreciate the information. Was curious more than anything.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
John, thank you for that.
No problem, Gary.
Yeah, John did a lot of work investigating it. We met with Eversource, have not heard back from Eversource, which is to be expected. But yeah, this is how far we've gotten.
One of the emphases of trying to get the electrical trench done this year is that there's discussion that the Connecticut DEP is going to be repaving the whole parking lot this summer. And if that does get done, they will not allow us to do any trenching. I think it's for a minimum of 3 to 5 years. Once that work gets done. So that was one of the reasons we wanted to try to at least get the electrical trench work done.
Very good planning on that item for sure. Was that with if the electronic gate is put in, does that reduce the need to have people guarding that gate during those weekend times? That we have hired guards, or we put one of the lifeguards there for a period of time, or Anna last year was there a lot.
We would be looking to eliminate in future years, once the gate became electronic, the parking lot attendant.
Okay. You just have to monitor the rocks and stuff like that as usual.
Correct. The lifeguards will still monitor everything else, but
Right.
the only way you'll be able to get into the parking lot will be through a tag.
Right.
And it will not open without the tag.
You know, also minimum wage is increasing. So, you know, what was previously less of a cost,
Sure.
parking lot attendant to sit there under umbrella and maybe check badges or maybe not. That cost is going up every year as well. So, you know, when I
I
spoke
hear you.
before about, you know, there being a payback period, I do energy efficiency. So everything I do has to pay for itself.
Right.
So this is kind of right up my alley as far as what are the actual financial benefits of something like this. And this is a good example of a project that actually does have a payback.
Definitely.
Speaking of the financial portion and employees, in the budget, we had asked this, I know that Kathy Cav, I think, asked a question about having a beach manager this year versus having a lead person, head lifeguard. And since John's on the call, I was wondering if, because I think that David said that this was your department, if we were planning on having a beach manager or a beach director.
We are going to have some sort of a beach manager, beach director. We also want to have that person hopefully be lifeguard certified so that he could fill in for the lifeguards whenever they needed to take a lunch break or do other things. So yes, we will still have some sort of a beach manager, beach director.
Okay, because that was the one big concern Kathy had, and I totally agree with that. If you're not, and that the person should probably be old enough to be able to handle all the situations down there.
That's correct. We want someone to be able to actually be able to completely oversee the lifeguards as well, since lifeguards are, a majority of them are high schoolers. We want to try to get somebody that's college age or higher than college age for the beach director.
Right.
Right. I love Anna, and I think Anna did a great job. It was a tough situation for her to just be thrown into last year. And, you know, we just want to make sure everybody's successful.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Annie Darling asked who was speaking. That was Karen Murphy. Oh, Dan answered. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Well done.
You guys got to let me know when he's asleep so I can put him down.
So are we adjourned?
Well, yeah, I mean, I scheduled this for an hour. It doesn't look like anyone else is signing on. So if there are any other questions, I would say definitely feel free to hop off.
Okay.
You know, I'll post this up on YouTube as well. So
Thank you very much for doing all of that. It's very helpful. And
yeah,
as somebody else said, I think, I'm not sure who it was, she said, good job, and I agree. Okay, thank you very much.
thank you, Carol. We appreciate all your input.
Kristen, it was Kristen. Thank you all.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, John.
Thank you very much.
Good night, everyone.